agenda. The way we work the meeting is pretty simply this, is that our speaker is going to speak. There's a ton of questions. There's all sorts of new things in the world of Metro. There's the Metro Rail South versus Metro Rail Central. You're going to learn all sorts of cool things tonight about Metro. In addition to that, we have our new newsletter that's on nice paper. Why? Because we save money. I can actually print 5,000 of these for $850. The cartridges for 1,000 when we were doing the paper newsletters cost me $1,300, so I could print 5 times as many newsletters for 35% of less the cost. So I like saving money. So the new newsletter has had a lot of good impressions. Some of you have been getting in the mail. Did everybody here pretty much get? This is eating still, so we'll give him a few more minutes to enjoy his sandwich. We have a couple folks tonight from the Tiger Team interns. And Sayed, if you want to tell like 2 or 3 minutes, like, we have different internship ideas and programs. Hey, how you doing? One of our programs is we're looking at public space and looking at accessibility. So why don't you stand up for a minute and tell people a little bit, 2 or 3 minutes about what you're doing, so Bruce.
My name is Saud. I'm a new entrant with the Transit Coalition. And last week we had a meeting at the Independent Living Center on July 16th. There was members of the Transit Coalition and the Independent Living Center. We talked about issues regarding visual impaired riders and public space. I have 2 minutes. Okay.
You have more time.
Okay, we talked about the issues that blind people or visual impaired people face when using public transit, such as drivers do not approach to them, or riders have to hold up a sign saying that visual impaired, pick me up, stuff like that, or when dropping off, they don't drop them off at a consistent spot. Also, priority seating. There is no specific law that tells drivers to ask other passengers to leave the priority seating. And the announcers, sometimes they work, sometimes they do not work, sometimes they lose reception. So most of these issues have been addressed by the ADA, but there is no police to make sure that these federal mandates are followed. We also talked about the corners in Shelburne that are undeveloped or under development. I also been there. They're not accessible to any wheelchair people or people with visual impairment, because only one of the corners had a slope. So also we talked about the Orange Line and increasing the service during weekdays, like late service. So yeah, I'm just starting, and these are some of the issues that we discussed at the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. After Bruce looks like he's finished with his sandwich, we're going to introduce Bruce in a few seconds. Well, I should mention some things. Many of you are getting the newsletter in the mail. We've published January, April, May, June, and July, and February and March will be published in the next couple months, along with August and whatnot. We'll be distributing them as we send them out in the mail. But if you want to pick up any of these issues, you're more than welcome to do so. In addition to that, after Bruce is done with his questions, unless the questions go to 11 or 12 o'clock, he's going to miss his last train to Ventura, I guess. That would be a problem. But on the other hand, we do have an agenda, and we'll get to the agenda somewhere around 8:20, 8:30. So many, many years ago, I met Bruce. He was a schedule maker, I believe, somewhere in Metro. And it seems like I've been around Metro for so long. There's actually people I knew from 40 years ago when I was a child. So it's really scary. I mean, and then it gets worse when Art Leahy comes up to me and says he remembers me in '74. So that gets even scarier. But anyways, we've been around for a long time, and along the years, I met Bruce probably in the late 1990s, early 2000, and so Bruce has been in the scheduling business. He's one of the masters of the craft, and I'll let him tell a little bit more. Bruce has been an attempted speaker. One week he was going to come and speak, but he was playing a baseball game, and I don't remember whether he broke his leg or broke his arm, so we had a different speaker. That was about a year ago. Now we get Bruce in actuality. Bruce is the guy, everybody has questions. What are we going to name the lines? How are they going to work? Why can't it work this way? Why can't it work that way? And Bruce is the guy who thinks all this out with his team and figures out how things can work and why. And he'll tell you as much as you can want to know, or more. And so, without further ado, we're going to bring in Bruce Shelburne.
Nice to be here. Thanks for coming out tonight and putting up with me for an hour or so. I'm just going to touch on a whole lot of things tonight, dealing with Metro Rail and whatever else pops up. I know there's a lot of questions and things like that. So this is kind of like the state of Metro Rail right now. I don't have, I think I got everything on there, but I have none of the future projects on there. But first of all, we have some business that we're going to be attending to this weekend actually. We're going to introduce on Friday night and Saturday night additional service on all the lines, all 6 Metro Rail lines and the Orange line will be running later into the wee hours of Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Essentially, it's a 2 o'clock last call for all the trains on the lines from their key destination or from their key departure points. So we're going to give it a shot. We experimented around with this a couple of years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago now, in November and December during the week on the weekends, and it worked out pretty well. The Downtown Business Association and the Hollywood Business Association, the bids, a whole bunch of people gave us a bunch of money to run it on 14 nights, which was 7 weekends. And lo and behold, that was from the middle of November through the end of December. And lo and behold, our peak ridership actually topped out on the red line. This was just the red line, like about 1,300 people on I think the second weekend of December. It was phenomenal, just out of the blue. And that was on a Friday night and Saturday night was a couple of hundred like that. We made it over 1,000 without even trying, or without really that much advertising. So we're going to give it a shot again here, and we'll see how it goes. And we expect a really good response from folks out and around. That's by far and away the #1 question: when are you going to run later? The #1 question by miles to the agency here. So we're going to give it a shot Friday and Saturday nights. It starts this weekend. We've got some other interesting things that are coming right around the bend here. We're going to increase the service at night on the Gold Line. I think somebody noted Mount Rushmore here. The service right now currently runs it every 20 minutes, and it will be scheduled every 10 minutes. So that will be nice. Probably toward the end of the summer, we have train operators company in training, and when they graduate, we're going to go ahead and institute that. And then later on in the year, we're going to be looking at some weekend service improvements to just improve the headway. We'll shorten the train. Right now, like for example, the Green Line runs 2-car trains, 15-minute headways. We're going to kick it down to 7.5-minute headways and 1-car trains. Same amount of capacity because the capacity is about right. We're just going to make it more frequent. So everybody doesn't have to wait as long. And so our basis for weekend service will probably be a 7.5-minute headway, as opposed to a 12-minute headway where on the Green Line it's 15-minute headway. So we're going to try to get all that organized. Finally, a long time comes, but we have some ability to do that right now. So that'll be fun. We have a couple other things that are going on that you need to know about. One is on the exposition line. A whole new world starts with the exposition line right now. And that is the world of special event service, major special event service. Given the Coliseum just down the road there, we run right through the front door of it. We have USC football. They play there 6 times a year. And then we have all sorts of other things that occur at the Coliseum where whole bunches of people come out there. In fact, our first operation with a sellout stadium, I guess is what you call it, sellout stadium, is August 5th. There'll be a Knights of Columbus convention or gathering or something like that in the Coliseum. And so we should have a heavy ridership to and from the location here on that day. So we'll give us a little bit of practice for football, which starts on September 1st, USC and Hawaii, and we'll be running heavy service system-wide. We have been working with USC to determine where most of their people come from en route to the stadium, so we have a pretty good idea where the heavier stations will be at, and we're going to staff many stations on football Saturdays, and we'll staff all of the stations in and along the Expo alignment on Saturday. And we'll be out there as much as 6 hours ahead of game time, trying to make sure everybody gets to where they're going. And we will also stick around until everybody's gone. So it's going to be long days, but we're looking forward to it. We'll put basically opening day service on the Expo line, right by every 6 minutes or so.
Can you speak a bit louder?
I'll sure try. I'm congested. I don't know what, I'm normally not congested, so I'll work on speaking a little louder here. So we're going to be running a 6-minute service. And then all the other lines, the subway lines and the goal line in particular, will be running more frequency also, until we get a real handle on what football brings to us. Because quite honestly, we don't know. We do know it is a game changer for us here in Metro. We've never really had anything like it. The closest thing we've ever had would be like New Year's Day service to Pasadena. So, you know, we'll see what goes on. We're expecting most of the traffic to go into and out of the Lamont station and the Truesdale station, or Expo Park USC station. I'll get the name right sooner or later. And to that end, we'll have to be very we'll have to queue passengers in and around the area there. So there'll be a lot of people out there, there'll be a lot of security out there, and a good time will be had by all. Just of interest, if you ever go to a UCLA, or I don't want to do that, USC game, there's a tremendous number of people that go from the campus on this side of the tracks to the stadium on this side of the tracks. Non-transit riders, they happen to be going to and from. Because if you've been down to USC, that's one of these tailgate capitals of the world there on the campus there. So everybody, their brother and sister, goes to the game maybe 2 or 3 times across the tracks before a game and after a game. It's quite a parade. So it's going to take a lot to keep us separated from them, if you will. So you know, we have to be very careful with our train movement, and lots of people down there to make it nice and safe. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Of course, we have a lot of other projects that are currently in various phases of either construction or advanced planning or preliminary engineering or just alternatives analysis or whatever you want. We got all sorts of stuff. There goes the black pen. So we'll just put it all in black real quick in case you're not familiar. First thing up will be more likely than not the gold line extension out to Azusa. So that's easy. That one probably late 2015 right now. The second one right behind it will be the extension from Culver City out to Santa Monica. And that's at Colorado and 4th of the Expo line. And we're looking at maybe that time period, maybe a little bit later, sometime late 2015, maybe early 2016, not real sure yet. We'll see how that one plays out. Let's see, those two are in the ground. What would be next? The next one would be Crenshaw, right? What time,
2018.
2018, holy cow. Right around the corner. Okay, so Crenshaw essentially is, well, kind of like that. Okay, there we go. So that's going to be Crenshaw. That's from Crenshaw and Exposition down to Redondo Beach. Then What else do we have going on? We have two things. We have a regional connector.
There's no connection.
The single most important 1.8 mile project in this county. It will take and go from the goal line up across under there and back down to here. That's a whole game changer for the county's transportation system. It'll connect the expo line, the blue line, and the goal line. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll end up breaking the whole thing up. We're going to take those 3 lines and turn them into 2 lines. So the expo service will marry with the east side service, and then the north end, the San Fernando Valley service will marry with the Long Beach service. So big X. But more importantly, you won't have to use the red line to get from the east side to the south or the west anymore. Big deal. Then of course there's the underground subway. Out somewhere out to here. The first phase will be built out, actually, let's do this. La Cienega is here. That's Beverly Hills High School. That's not an editorial comment. And this is the Veterans Administration out here. So that's what we got basically coming right at us. Now there's a couple of other little items that you well know about. There's the Sepulveda Pass, and there's also the East Side Extension Project. Extension Project would come over here, and then there's the Montclair Project out here, that way, that way. What else do we got here? Let's see, where's the valley? Let's go this way. There's that, and then there's the south corridor down here that may or may not go there. Who knows where that one's really going to go, if it's going to go. Did I miss anything, guys?
The green line into the airport.
Oh, sure, the green line.
Parallel to it.
Okay, yeah. You know, this is where it all gets fun down here. So let's put the blip over to the airport first. Okay, and then we got the green line down here. There we go. See, I just so many, you just can't even keep on. Here's Torrance maybe. Here's LAX.
Van Nuys Boulevard.
Van Nuys Boulevard. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's go this way for Van Nuys. There's Van Nuys. What else? Who wants a new line? Anybody? Anybody?
Branch off the east side extension to go up into Monterey Park and eastbound.
There you are. See, it's literally just, we got so much going on here. One wonders where all the money's being printed.
Purple onto LAX.
Who knows what's going to happen? You know, my personal favorite, if I had to pick an extension, if you had to take anything here, and this is just really off topic, but I would take Crenshaw, believe it or not. Crenshaw is a great set. It's like the 405 of rail, okay? Because this has the opportunity to bypass downtown. Right here, you still kind of gotta go through downtown for everything. But if you take Crenshaw and if you did something like that and got it up to Hollywood, and maybe got it down. I realize I'm just printing money out of my pocket there, okay? And got down to Long Beach, then all of a sudden you'd have a 405 bypass at probably multiple billions and billions and billions of dollars. But that would be probably the heaviest light rail line in the country if that was built. So anyway, we got all these projects going on right now. We are in the process of buying new light rail cars. For everybody who's not up to speed on that, or if you are up to speed on that, we're in the process of working with Kinky Sherrio, and that's not been totally formalized yet. We're still waiting for one more document from the FTA to buy 78 light rail vehicles. We have options for quite a few more to make it 235 total. The 78 cars will go to outfit the expo line, and the balance of them will go over here to operate on the gold line. The 78 cars, the 23 of the P2000s, they will be bumped to another line once the new cars come in. We also have car allotments for the Crenshaw project on option 1 and the South Bay project on option 1 and LAX actually. So it's all kind of like option 1's here. Option 2 is the regional connector, and I believe the service improvement all the way around the system. And then option 3 is the east side, the goal line. I think that's it for option 3. Option 4 is the replacement of all of the blue line vehicles. Just so you know how train options work, we could take any option out of order. So we could go with the base 5, then immediately exercise option 4 for the replacement of cars. And, you know, it's not dependent upon how the projects come in or how they're finished. We could manipulate it all around, and we most likely will. We have some cars out there that are quite old. You know, you think about it, we just had our 22nd anniversary last week of the Blue Line. That's 22 years already. That's scary. I remember that opening day like it was yesterday. Yeah. You know, that's really frightening. That also means I'm really old. So our cars are coming. We are also getting ready to start a heavy rail procurement, vehicle procurement. We do need heavy rail cars. Our 104 cars only gets us so far. It doesn't get us far enough to go to La Cienega. So we need some additional cars to come out here, and likewise, we'll have options for coming out here as well as the money, the projects come in, the money. Remember, leave your credit cards here. We'll take all the money we can get to fund this stuff. So they'll be up to another 100 cars or something like that. We have our red line heavy rail cars were purchased. We bought a 30-car base buy fleet originally. I don't know if everybody remembers. Well, I imagine everybody remembers. We used to run a little short section from Union Station over to Westlake MacArthur right here. 5 stations. We had 30 cars to do that. There were a couple of days there where we had 2 serviceable cars for a variety of reasons, and we'll talk about some of that stuff later. But those cars, we started service in 1993 on the red line. Okay, so we're up on 20 years on that thing too, coming up on 20 next year. That's amazing. Then we had 74 cars that we purchased for the remainder of the alignment, plus an extension that was not built. So we have a little bit more than what we need right now, but in all reality, we have about the right number to provide service because the original 30 are beat up pretty good, and we're going to have to rehab them and build them into AC technology. Let's see, where do we want to go next? That's kind of where the system is right now and where we expect things will be going. You know, the time frames are assuming that everything goes right from the funding sources, and you know, if we have America Fast Forward and all this stuff works, and I don't even want to bother. You know, we'll open them up when we get them built. That's basically, you know, if it's 18 or 19. Quite honestly, I'd rather have it built right and be 19 than hurry it and have it be 18. That's my philosophy on this stuff.
New rail yards?
New rail yards everywhere, folks. Okay, new rail yards. Thank you. See, I just need to be. Here's one. This is in Santa Monica, south of Olympic, off of Stewart. That'll be new Division 14. This does have a number. Division 14 will be an expo. It will share with the Blue Line. So until the regional connector is built, that's close enough, isn't it? Yeah, that's about right. These 2 lines will split the service here. They'll share service. What else do we have that'll be new? We have a Monrovia yard out here. That'll be right about here. 1, 2, is it 23? I think it might be 23. Not totally certain as a number. But that'll be up here. Of course, we have Midway right here, Division 21. So these 2 yards will take care of the east side service. And as you can see, these 4 yards here will work very nicely to complement the regional connector. So we'll have the yard out here, we'll have a yard over here, yard over here. This is just right about where you want your yards. They're almost a perfect position. And then we have one that's essentially a downtown yard, even though it's not that far to the east side. We can scoot over here pretty fast, 20, I don't know, 30 minutes we can get over there. So that's okay, but more importantly, it's a downtown yard. So what we can do and what we will do is we'll probably start laying over cars over there in the cornfield. There's a one track along the side of the main line right now where you see cars stored over here every now and again. And we're going to hook that track up to the main line. And that will be a track that we can use for some sort of storage, like for midday stuff. We'll also be putting in a track down here at Washington, right here. That'll be a 12-car storage facility right there. So what we have on each side is an opportunity for turnbacks and storage, so we don't have to run everything out to the end of the line at the end of the service day. Yes, sir?
On Arborvitae.
Oh, yeah.
Can I have another line?
Yeah. And what this does, also in the regional connector forms here, is it essentially creates two rail districts. Well, I'll just call them districts for now. One's kind of like a northern district, because most of it's kind of north, and then, except for the one that goes to Long Beach, and then we got a southern district. But the two just don't mix. All we have is a regional connector, or a non-revenue connector that goes between blue and green. We don't use that for traffic. So when the Crenshaw / LAX / South Bay projects are built, we have our Arbor Vitae yard to service. We're calling it Southwestern Yard right now. Numbers totally escapes me. It's a 20-something. Yeah, it's some big high number. And then that'll work in combination with Division 22 at Green Line. But what will happen is that these 2 lines down here will be redirected in service. Depending on what happens over here at LAX, in the exact configuration, we're not real sure what that's going to be. There's lots of options right now. Everything from taking the lines all the way through LAX, both lines, kind of coming through this way, to stub end, to who knows. But the green line itself has always been the green line to LAX, and it will be the green line to LAX. It will cease going to Redondo Beach when the Crenshaw project's built. It will come into LAX. It will come up to Century Aviation, or it will come up that direction wherever it is the terminal.
Is that section going to be abandoned or what?
No, not at all. No. Down here, Crenshaw will take everything
okay then.
down. For all you people who ever lived in Torrance and watched line 444 when you were growing up, or something like I did when I first moved down here, I rode line 444 every day to work. And it's amazing to watch the people down here. Line 444 services the Palos Verdes Peninsula, and it comes up here Artesia Boulevard and works downtown, or it works over on the freeways and comes downtown. This bus is packed in the peak opposite directions. So southbound in the morning, going to the peninsula is packed. Northbound in the afternoon is packed. To the corner of Hawthorne and Artesia. Then the bus clears out. Everybody walks across the street to line 40 or line 210 and catches it there and continues north. The travel pattern down here is north to south. This thing is going to be great when it goes in place. It is what it is there. Likewise, the Crenshaw line will work very nicely coming on down. The green line will effectively come in here someday, hopefully, when we figure out exactly what we're doing at LAX. And I don't even know where we stand with that, Dawn, right now. Figure that out. And there's also what would be really cool, okay, would be something along the lines of this. And I don't even know if this is being talked about right now, but here's LAX. Okay, there's the circuit. Okay, there's Tom Bradley over here, and there's all the terminals around there. If we can get the Crenshaw line to kind of come in here, maybe make a center station here, and come on down like this. And then we still have the other line that comes around like this. What we'd end up, and then like this. You could actually take the green line and loop the green line. Okay? And then the Crenshaw line going through, so you'd have the kind of the best of both worlds, and you'd have access all over the county to the airport. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I'm just spending money, you know. Here. We're just a bunch of people around talking right now. Okay? So it's just kind of fun. That is do I have enough money to pay for that? No. But I think it's worth, you know, we're going to have to ask ourselves as a county, we want to do things right or do things in a hurry, and I think we want to do things right. So we got to take steps, slow steps sometimes.
20?
Money?
20.
20.
Yeah.
Division 20?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Now we can talk about Division 20. You know, Division 20. Let's talk about 20 for a second. 20's got its own challenges. Just down the street here.
Santa Fe Avenue.
Santa Fe Avenue. Currently, it's a disaster zone, if you've been by there. We're having a project built in the parking lot there. It's a transit-oriented development. It's called One Santa Fe. Taking all of our parking over there. It's just a mess right now. And this yard is going to have to support any increase out here on the west side, Purple Line subway. So it will be totally reconfigured to do that. As you may or may not know, if you go out here to Union Station, take a look at Union Station, just look around there. That is not a terminal station. It was not designed as a terminal station. It functions horribly as a terminal station, so it's horrible. It just doesn't work. The train control wasn't set up for a terminal station. We're changing that finally, 20 years in. But it was originally built to be an inline station to service, and the rest of the alignment. And if you look down at the east end of the station, down in there, you'll see the beginnings of two tunnels exiting on each side that would have gone to the east side over into Boyle Heights. Didn't happen for a variety of reasons. And so we have to fix that, because anything that happens out here is going to be huge in terms of ridership. I'm not sure we can run enough trains to haul the number of people out here. Quite honestly, it's the heaviest volume bus street in the country in terms of passengers, and it's going to be in terms of trains too. It's going to be very heavy. It'll be kind of a baby New York operation out here, and the two lines come together here at Wilshire, Vermont. What we're looking at right now is 4-minute headways on both lines, which means a 2-minute headway in the trunk. Okay? 2 minutes. That's quick. That renders Union Station useless. We can't turn trains that fast. The train control won't allow us, and there's 100 different reasons. Fire life safety issues won't allow us. We can't turn trains fast enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this into an inline station. And we're going to send all the trains into the yard, the Division 20 yard. And there'll be a turnback facility built in the yard to handle mainline operations. It'll be on the west side, the Santa Fe side of the yard. It'll be a 3-track turnaround facility, and it'll do nothing but turn around. And it will be built not to preclude a station at that location. Okay, so the Artist District will have a possibility of having a station in that location.
and that'd be an open platform.
Yeah, it'd be a surface station. So what we do is we put all the mayhem outside Union Station. So Union Station, preferably the station will be a station, or the turnback facility will be a station. That way we don't have to worry about clearing the trains or anything like that at Union Station. And we just come in, do our 30-second dwell there, get everybody off the train and go. And then we got the volume available, because the 3rd track will allow us to maintain 2-minute headways. Which in the trunk. So that's kind of interesting. Yes, sir.
There's been talk in the past about a connector from the red line to the purple line through West Hollywood. Is that still?
No, it's not going to happen. No, not going to happen. That was one of the items through here. that was on the table for the West Side project. It was, what happens is it becomes, you just can't operate it. There's too many trains. There's too many trains and not enough track when you start tying everything together. When you end up with a junction here, and then a junction out somewhere out here, and you're doing something like that, then what you're doing is you're just crippling yourself from an operational perspective, which is exactly the reason why Crenshaw does not connect track-wise into Expo. There are a lot of people who want that to happen, a whole bunch of people, but operationally we can't do it. Because we already have the junction here. And if we put another one out here, then what we end up doing is having a cut service or to just be able to get the trains in here. It's just far too many trains.
New York subways have 4-track.
Yes, they do. They have 4 tracks.
Is that doable in
No.
Essentials?
No.
Yeah.
4 tracks is not practical from our perspective here. Although I wish it was, I'd go for 3 tracks. 3 tracks, and you could have peak service. One, you know, like an express service one way. We've talked about that on the blue line down here for like ever and ever and ever because of the Santa Fe. Santa Fe. Oh God. You can tell what I grew up on, Santa Fe. Southern Pacific right away down here, which is now UP. It's a great right away. We just can't use it. Right now, but you know, our main capacity issue is 2-track service. You know, we look at the East Coast, and they have you know 3 or 4. Typically, New York has got 4 everywhere. They can run anything anytime they want to. So they were smart. So Division 20 is going to be totally reconfigured. It will service up to 200 cars. So we should be okay with this. Virtually anything we come up with for VA, that yard will be okay. Now, if we get out and down the road to where someday, if this happens someday, then we would have to have an enlarging of the yard or something along those lines. But that's for Andres to worry about. That's not for me to worry about. Hey, Alan.
Bruce, any consideration given to possibly lettering the line?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
Or numbering or lettering.
Oh, I like it. Okay, let's talk about that. Anybody noticed anything funny lately?
Yeah. Running out of colors.
Come on. Well, we're running out of colors. How can you run out of colors when we only got 6 lines? Isn't that odd? Where's the yellow line? Where's the brown line? We need a black line. We need a white line. We need a pink line. We got 100 colors, but we just can't use them for a variety of different stupid reasons. That was it.
Aqua. Considering every color has a race connotation, it certainly starts with
It becomes very true. Has anybody noticed anything in the system right now?
Well, Expo has no color, and you have some good new signage at 7th Metro, which I saw yesterday.
And what is it?
Well, it tells you how to get on the Expo line and how to get on the blue line to the average person. Train fan knows how to do it.
Well, Expo line isn't called the color, but they have their own color.
Yeah, it's a light blue. It was originally supposed to be aqua, but aqua is not, there's not enough variation between the color aqua and the color white. And the ADA requirements, we needed more variation in color. It washes out. I have a lot of trouble seeing color as well, and it washes out. So the aqua turned into a light blue, which is virtually identical in dark spaces to a dark blue, which is the blue line. Okay, all right, or an average blue, which is the blue line. So if you go down the tunnel there, you'll see 2 circles. They both look the same color. There's a blue and a blue. Nobody's noticed anything? Yes, thank you. Okay, an E is starting to show up in the lighter blue dot. E for Expo. Yes, for E for Expo. We are starting to do that. Okay? So what do you think that's going to end? That's kind of the wrong whole color, but that's what's going on out there. Okay? So you're going to see Expo go all E here before too long. We're actually, our dash sign, we should have brought a dash sign. We're going to put dash signs in front of all of the Expo Blue Line trains, just because we need more signage on the trains, and we're having a devil of a time with the Mylar signs. They're getting old. The mechanisms are getting old, and you'll see the middle car, that'll be blank sometimes. And then the front car will be Culver City, and the back car will say LA, okay, or Long Beach. Where's it going? Who knows? So we're going to just a good old bus technology, flip the dash sign for a while until we get that all under control. We just got them in, they should be out next week. But anyway, everything's going to have an E on it for Expo. So, that begs the next question.
So is the red line R?
I don't know. Now, there's one school that says you'll have R, P, O. What else do we got out there?
G.
What are you going to do with G?
G could be green or gold.
Green or gold? Why don't we make them both G? They don't make G and G. G,
They
G.
will. G-R-D-O.
I'll take D. I'll take D for gold. Green definitely goes to G.
Or N for green?
And there's some other letter for gold.
A. D for gold.
A, if you remember your chemistry.
Well, actually, Tom's closer to the truth. It will probably be in order of just A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Is probably what it will be.
Because once the Expo line merges into the
Right.
line, you know.
Expo's going to go away. Expo will become probably gold. Okay? And so, but more likely than not, we're considering A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, that way. And you know, okay, hierarchy. Okay, first line, blue, I don't know, red, I don't know.
But if the A line replaces the purple line, you could do A as purple.
It could be anything. This is going to be a great fodder topic for quite a while.
Is that in addition to the existing names, or?
No, the color names will be phased out. Okay. So it'll turn more like a New York.
You have a timeline on it?
Not soon enough. I just assumed it tomorrow. I really would. So.
I remember what happened the last time you went to the board with putting colors and names.
Yes, I do, Tom. I do. Which is why we won't tell them this
I was just thinking, on the purple line.
Yeah.
After Beverly Hills High School burns down.
I thought we were putting a yard at Beverly Hills High School.
Buy the site real cheap, and all you need to do is have a little line coming up to the surface. You can put a yard there.
Next, please. You know, with that, I think what we'll do is just
go ahead and tell Art I suggested that.
Well, that's kind of the stuff that's going on right now. It's all really pretty cool and exciting. I did want to touch on ridership real quick. In June, we had our highest throughout Expo line. We still had our highest ridership we've ever had in any month on weekdays service for weekday ridership. We had one line that didn't reach an all-time goal, but the blue line, and the blue line was it. It had 89.5 or something like that. And its highest is like 90, so it's just barely under. Red had 160, how many? 163. Yeah, Subway had 163. Allen Wheat's purple line, or gold line, had 47. And green line. See, I'm already doing green. Okay, and green line had 46 and change. That's just a pile of riders. That's over 350,000 boardings on weekdays.
Is that average weekday over a week or what?
Average weekday over the month.
That's within 10,000 of the boarders.
This is pretty good. This is not bad at all. What this did for us is it put us over 100 million boardings for last calendar year. Actually 101 million. So this is exciting. Normally June's our highest month. July will fall off a little bit. August will fall off a little bit more, but not much. So this really is an exciting thing right now. And with that, let's see. Green, blue, purple. I didn't forget any line, did I? Orange line, we can talk about the orange line for a second. It pretends to be a bus, or pretends to be a train. The extension out here to Chatsworth, pretty cool. I don't know if any of you read the Daily News article about 2 weeks ago. There was one of the reporters went out to ride the Expo line, and she found a whole bunch of Valley people riding the line. And they said, "What are you doing out here riding the Expo line?" And they gave her stories that, you know, well, geez, it's faster for me to get on somewhere on the orange line and red line it to downtown and come out to Culver City on the Expo line than it is for me to drive through that awful pass over there.
Take the bus, I think that's.
The
761 bus.
And it's very true. It's very true. You can make it around that way, you know, and it's only going to get better out here. So that's really cool. It shows that people are very creative. There was actually a person interviewed that started out in Simi Valley. That rode the sea line, for all you San Fernando Valley folks, that comes into pretty darn close, right there to the old Hughes Market. What is it, Ralphstown or something like that? Yeah. There by Chatsworth Station. Then orange lined it down and came out here to USC. Amazing. Simply amazing. Yes, sir.
Ridership and gas prices, what do you see there?
You know, the first time the gas thing went crazy, we saw a lot of ridership, and then as the gas prices fell off, we did not fall off like the bus side did. The rail side did not fall off like the bus side did. The rail side kept a lot of their riders. We didn't have as much of a spike this time. It's been a natural growth. The last couple of years we kind of flattened out a little bit, but 9 to 10, was it 9 to 10? I think it was 9 to 10. We had a huge, like an 8% increase, and 10 to 11 was like 1%. 11 to 12 was like 1% or something like that. And then this last year we jumped again to like 6%. So. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be as much effect this time.
I want to suggest once the Expo line does get to the ocean, and especially once the Gold line does get further east you go, the hotter it gets in the summer.
Yeah.
All those cars that are choking the Santa Monica Freeway, heading to the beach on the weekend, they're going to be on the cars aren't going to be on the Expo line, but all those riders,
all those folks will be.
They get cool.
Yeah, just to tell you a little story. Yeah, a big story. All the environmental impact reports are based on weekday peak hour ridership. This line's peak hour ridership is going to be on weekends. Okay, there's no ifs, and buts, or maybes. This is a weekend line. This thing will be Katie bar the door on weekends out here. If any of you have ever tried to go to Santa Monica on a weekend, even a marginal weather weekend, traffic's backed up on the 10, you're going off of 5th and 4th Street or Lincoln or something like that, you're parked on the freeway because nothing can move in town there. This thing is going to be a gangbuster line. It's going to be huge. Okay, let's, and there was one more thing that I can't remember. Oh, I wanted to talk about, I'm sure it'll come up in conversation.
Yeah, I noticed the Expo line.
Let's just start right to the back and I'll work forward. Yes, sir.
Quick question on the tap. What's the future of tap and the gates? I'm an infrequent rider. Do I need a plastic card to get on the train?
Please buy one. Oh, please. Invest the $1.
Is that for one ride? Or?
No, it's just $1. You can keep the ticket forever and just reload it. It's just
and
the
dollars on it don't expire?
You know, I can't. I purposely have kept myself distance from that because it's just it's a.
I think you said all you really want to say.
I think I might have said all I really want to say.
We understand everything.
Yeah, please buy a $1 tap card out of the machine, and you'll be happy. It'll be good forever. Okay, and then that way you just reload it and be done.
$350 on a tap card combined.
Yes, sir.
Next bus.
Yes, sir.
Great thing. How's it help people getting on? And are you going to put train schedules on there, please?
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. it's just a matter of catching up to it.
Because right now I love next bus by. I hate the fact that I can't pick the train.
Yeah, I understand. It's gonna happen. Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me say that the expo line is kind of slow getting out of downtown. Got a lot of
think?
stops. It's basically like a streetcar. You've got to stop. I think once it gets past Satellite, it's stop at 12th Street, goes to station near Pico, then it's stop at Pico, Washington, and there's a problem at the junction. Then you got it. There's a 28th Street where you have to wait for the cars to get on the freeway. You have Washington. Is there anything being done to kind of speed up, maybe get some signal preemption or something? Because
what's your point?
I think it's I think the Sturgis ridership.
Oh, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
We are at a crossroads in Los Angeles County, or the city of Los Angeles in particular, with street running, light rail, and traffic. Okay, we got to decide what's more important. Is it going to be the cars or the trains? Okay, up until this point, it's been the cars, and I to a certain extent, I can understand the predicament. Especially in the south downtown area. Washington Boulevard is the only east-west through street, truly east-west through street, south of 7th Whittier goes through, 7th Street goes through. When's the next one that goes through on the south side?
Adams, Jefferson,
Slauson goes through. Vernon kind of goes through until you get to
Pacific Coast
Pacific
Highway?
goes south. Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's lost. It goes all the way through. Yeah. So Washington's this lifeline, and they're very protective of it. And of course, we have transfer right down the middle of it. We have a junction in the middle of it. So we're 2 times right there. Flower has a freeway ramp on it. Dictates our service. We are, believe it or not, the lights are timed for train movement from Gramercy inbound to Metro Center. They are timed. That being said, if a pedestrian interrupts a cycle, let's say at Dinker, a street that has 1 car a day on it, then the train has to stop and they have to catch the cycle again. Likewise, at 28th or 30th, a pedestrian has to be given enough clearance time to go across the intersection, which isn't necessarily the same amount of clearance time as an automobile. So there's extensions to times and things that have to be changed. And I think what we're going to do, we've been talking with Doc about this, and we're coming to a mutual understanding that some of the smaller streets, the PEDs need to be, we need to deactivate, as a train approaches, we just need to deactivate the PED. So it doesn't.
Zap!
Well, yeah, that sounded wrong, didn't it? Yeah, there's taser. Okay. So we're working on that with DOT to try to improve that. The preferential direction, and you don't know it now because we're still at the junction, we're still under central traffic as opposed to auto traffic. We are doing all the routing at the junction right now. The auto traffic routing is not available to us yet. So it moves in slow motion. Once auto traffic is established for the trains to run via let's see, they'll get to like 23rd Street, then they will key the intersection and they'll come on through. Right now they're coming up and they have to be manually controlled through the intersection. Very clumsy, very time consuming. So we have not seen Expo the way it actually is going to be yet, and nor will we for another month or so. Let's just work through here.
I want to go back to something that you talked about earlier. Maybe I misunderstood, or maybe it's something different. You mentioned that the Crenshaw line could never connect up through the edge of Beverly Hills or West Hollywood to Hollywood and Highland. Is that as through trains, or couldn't it? Because it's my understanding that Crenshaw Station is being built underground to allow continuation.
Yeah, yes.
I would understand that having through trains from North Hollywood down through from heavy rail to light rail can't happen.
I maybe misunderstood you. I would thought you were talking about the heavy rail line through West Hollywood. This Crenshaw line is being built underground for specifically that reason, not to preclude it going north. It's exactly right. So, and the lay of the land is challenging north of that for a good portion here. Crenshaw is a very narrow street, just north up to the freeway, and then you can kind of wander your way up. And
a connection at Crenshaw and Wilshire would not make any sense because they already decided not.
Yeah, we don't have a
The
station.
Purple Line station there, but
So-
West Hollywood and Cedar Sinai have been very supportive of.
It would not go to Crenshaw here, because Crenshaw's a dead end here. Right. So it would come before there's no west. So yes, that one, that's the reason it's being built underground.
Okay, so phase 2 of that, none of the new things could be added unless measure R2 is passed.
And R3 and R4 and R5.
And all of these, and all of the things that are already on the long-range plan are.
Yeah, this isn't even on the radar scope right now. This is good topic for us sitting around the table. You know, a bunch of planners sitting around with a marker pen. You know, some of our is spent. It's just to get the projects built, which was on R. Because you've got to remember that R was passed on the bubble, if you will, where money was flowing everywhere, and immediately after it passed, maybe right at that same time, everything crashed. So our revenues aren't even close to what were anticipated or what were sold.
So R2 just speeds this up. It doesn't allow.
It really completes everything. There's a
new
couple of
projects.
minor new projects, I think. I haven't been keeping up with it because it changes every day. But I know a lot of it is goes to just completing what was on the table on R and guaranteeing that it gets done. Ken?
Our assistant city manager in Culver City, sorry, right
That's
next.
a statement, a question.
I'm going to give a question. You're talking about creativity. He rides Expo. He does not ride to the blue line. He rides to the silver line to the green line,
That's a
and the
question.
green
That's
line.
not a question.
Okay, the question is, there's creativity. How many other creativities can you come up with just using from Culver City to Long Beach or other locations?
Well, and there's just as many as you could possibly come up with. I mean, I forgot to draw the silver line in here. So I'm going to draw a silver line, only it's going to be green. That's it, right? There's a silver line. And any transit person worth their creativity would certainly use the silver line from Expo down to Green to get around. There's no reason to come all over here and go around. It's actually a really quick trip from 37th Street down to Harbor. It's a very quick trip.
Thank you.
Let's just keep on going. I'm going to go this way and I'll get back around. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I noticed when that rush hour going by the blue line yard that there are very few trains.
Yes.
In the yard.
Yes.
Are you limited by the number of trains, or is the yard capacity, or is that affecting your ability to operate?
Yes, yes, and yes. Okay. We have 92 cars for the Expo line and for the blue line right now. Right now, when we take them out, we have 25 trains that go out in the morning, plus a gap train. That's 26 times, what's that, 75, 78 cars every day out of 92. The fleet's 22 years old. Two-thirds of the fleet's 22 years old. And we're running with 14 spares. That's a miracle that we get that stuff out.
Does that relate to the increased number of breakdowns it seems to be?
No. A lot of the breakdown, I knew we'd get to this, that's why I didn't bring it up earlier. I knew we'd get to it. A lot of the issues are what we consider infant mortality. With the P2000 cars, they've been around for a long time. They've been running very nicely up here on the goal line. But we threw them into the war zone down here. They have a totally different environment. They're running like they've never run before. They just, you know, on the green line, you have a nice automatic train operation environment, very sterile when it comes to the train movement and everything like that. You don't have any problems with a right-of-way. It's a good environment for a P2000 to operate in. Up here, they seem to adapt. If you remember the goal line when we first started out, we had our share of problems. Hills falling down on top of the tracks, wire breaking. We had 3 breaks in 6 weeks when the goal line opened up back there in 2003. It was like in August and when did we open that thing? We opened it in the summertime. Anyway, like 6 weeks after we opened it, we had 3 wire breaks. And vehicle problems, we're dropping vehicles all over the place like that. Quite simply, we just moved in a fleet of 23 cars and they're just getting broken in. You know, they're starting to get better. There's a lot less trauma with the cars now. The old cars, they're soldiering on. Do they break down more than they used to? Absolutely. And the big player on the breakdowns, more so than anything else, are doors. I don't know if you've been on a Blue Line train, been out there, and a door locks up, or somebody decides to open up a door, and you know, because it's a little T-handle thing there. That T-handle doesn't exactly go back up the same way that they do on the other cars with a knob. The T-handle is on a pulley, and you pull it down. If you pull it too hard, it'll jump the pulley, and it has to be kind of reset. And if you get your fingers up there, you can kind of poke it in. It's a mess. It's very cantankerous. Unfortunately, we have a lot of folks who like to get out of the car like that, and for whatever reason, I don't know. So we do have a lot of door problems. We had quite a few door problems with the P2000s that were running on the two alignments. What our fleet services folks did was, because of all the issues, they decided to baseline the car and just essentially start over and look at every single part on the car and to find out if there's something they could do. And they found a lot of little nickel and dime things. They started from the ground up, and it's improving the reliability of the cars. 2020 vision, or hindsight, thank you. That's what should have happened in the first place, but it didn't, and it has happened now. So the service is noticeably improved in terms of breakdowns. Today, I think the Blue Line Expo line, as of right now, only has like 2 vehicle incidents all day, and they're both very, very minor. And some days we go without any now, thank God. We'll talk about the other issues in a few minutes, because I'm sure they'll come up. Let's see, you were up here. I will circle around. Yes, sir.
It sounds like the equipment on all of the light rail lines is interchangeable.
No, it's not.
All right, so which?
That's another issue. What happens when you buy different fleets? We're going into our 4th fleet of cars now. Light rail. Yeah. So we had the 865 fleet. Then we bought a version of the 865 fleet to open the green line, which is called the 2020. These essentially are the same 2 cars. Okay. Then we purchased the 2000s. This is 69 cars. Then we purchased the 2000s, the Siemens cars, the 52 of those babies. Turned out to be a pretty good car. These have been a good car. These started out horribly. I don't know if you were in the growing pains of the new cars around the turn of the century. We started breaking these things in on the green line. What a pain in the tail end. Breakdowns everywhere, all sorts of issues all the time. They've turned out to be pretty good.
Delivered for years.
We couldn't get them delivered for years. We had a separate train control contract on this thing. Remember, these cars were supposed to be the driverless cars. Right? It was the green line, the driverless line. Well, when that technology was decided to be dumped, that wasn't the best word, decided to be changed, then all of a sudden you have a car that's designed for computer interface. You know, split second. And now you're going to put a train operator in there and expect him or her to make split second decisions. We've always had that problem with the car. It takes a lot to operate this car. You have to react twice as fast as you do here. The train control contract, the H1100 contract, took forever to get the car interfaced with the train control. It finally happened, and it's turned out to be a good car. It just takes time sometimes. I wish we could just bring a car in, off the shelf, what a concept, off the shelf, and put it on the street. Now, we're purchasing the 3010 car, Kinky Shario, most likely. 78 plus a bunch, That's B. I beg your pardon. God, Marty, why'd you guys just let me go around like that?
The tin cans from hell. The
2550s. We got 50 of them.
Send them all back.
What don't you like about them?
They're freight cars. They're not made for passengers.
Seats are too narrow, air conditioners too
No forward view. Door, the little dog leg or dog ear thing, once you lift that, you need somebody to come out and reset it. With all of the other cars, they're self-resetting. And then you got this silly computer system, which crashes all the time, yet all the functions on the train have to go through that computer.
They do.
That's a threat to everyone's safety right there.
The 2550 has been problematic from day one, but I'll tell you what, the breakdown rate on this car is very minimal. The average failure between, the mean miles between failures, yes, is in the high 20s on this thing, low 30s. That is huge, huge. The car, in spite of all the creature comforts that were messed up on this car, the car runs.
Which line is that?
This is the goal line. The car runs. Go figure.
Bruce, I'm sure you know the operators, that's one of their favorite cars.
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. Yeah, the window, yeah, I know.
Do you ever find out if they're light enough to run the green line ever?
They were tested on the green line, and it had to do with the bridge strength on the green line. And I can't remember, I would be guessing, I just don't remember, I flat don't remember.
An operator told me they were 3 tons too heavy, they shouldn't use them.
Of course, the rate is.
Well, they were 6,000 pounds overweight, 3 tons, right, and that's the reason it was problematic down here. I just don't remember what the, one thing we don't want to put, we want to keep our fleets together, because there was a, when we opened the Expo line, everybody wanted new cars on the Expo line. So what are we going to do? We're going to put 25 down there and 25 up here and another 10 down here. You can't break up your fleets. You've got to keep your fleets together. Okay? And I'm still getting to your answer. So we got the 3010s coming. And it'll be up to 235 cars, at least 78. Okay? The question was, do any of these fleets, do they all work together? The answer is no. They don't. The 2550 is onto its own fleet. It doesn't marry with anything. It mechanically couples, but electronically it doesn't do anything more than it just mechanically couples. We can tow it. Or we can tow something with it. The P2000 and the 865, we can put a P2000 in between two 865s, or we can put an 865 in between two P2000s. You put an 865 and a 2000 in a 2-car train, it won't work. 3010 is going to mate with everything. Okay? That's the design right now is this one's going to be universal. It'll be able to operate on any line. It'll have the train control packages. And the train control packages are changing. The Expo line, the Gold line currently are the same. The blue line will be upgraded to the Expo and Gold line. So those will all be the same. And then down the road, we're going to change out the green line as well to make them all the same control package, which will make things tremendously easier. This right now is still an ATO package. We run the trains out there by pressing the buttons. So, I hope that helps. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Which is going to make it all that much harder when we open up the regional connector. Because then you're going to be essentially marrying the 25, the 2000, some of the 3010, and what's left over, the 865 fleet. We're going to have 4 fleets in that operation for a period of time until we get all this out of here. If it's possible, we'll get all these out before we open the regional connector, and that'll be a blessing. So that'll really help out. So let's swing on around. We'll go right here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was curious how you calculate the ridership numbers. I mean, I've seen people, counting on the trains, but I was wondering if you actually look at tickets purchased from the TVMs, yes, and then also, people actually tapping with the tap card. Do you do some sort of combination? And
yes, that's exactly what we do. The people on board the trains, they ride every rail car in service on every train throughout the year. We update a database constantly. It's just a rolling database, and so it just keeps updating. So every car of every train is ridden throughout the year. We look at the TVM receipts, and we look at the tap to validate trends. So if we see something in the ridership that was a bit odd, or even not a bit odd, then we'll validate it with the fares. Okay. And it works out pretty darn close. We can go out and count. We can have to do a manual count for a couple hours, and then go back and, or I'd like, let's say, one train run through the day, and go back and look at the numbers, and this is just within a couple %. It really works. We finally got a methodology that, you know, rather than 25,000. You know, it's
Automatic passenger counting?
it's coming. We're actually getting ready to outfit a train to test it out. So it's coming. It's coming around the bend. Okay, let's.
I know it's not your area, but try it on buses.
It's on buses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. The technology is supposed to be better now. We'll see. That's why we got to try it with a train. A lot of people are singing the praises of it. I'm not sure. We got to see. Yes, sir. Back here.
When the regional connector opens,
yes.
Was the decision to run trains east, west, north, south just based on it looks best on a map, or is there any sort of ridership where that would mean the least number of transfers for people within downtown?
Yes, that's it. The last one. A very traditional transit pattern in Los Angeles County is east-west. Very traditional. If you look at a lot of our bus service, the east-west service out of downtown, line 66, line 18, line 20, 720, or you know, whatever format the line takes now, if it's rapid or whatever, it's essentially east side and west side service, line 30. Line 30 is the east side to west side service, and because that is the demand. And so that was a very conscious decision to tie those two together. Now, the big concern I have right now is that we're taking a 22-mile railroad, the Blue Line, and hooking it up with a long line, Arizona. Azusa. Wow. Azusa. Right now, this is 13 miles out the south, to Sierra Madre Villa, and we're going another 12 miles out to Azusa. That's 25 miles on top of 22 miles. 47 miles is about all I would want to run.
How many?
47 miles-ish is about all I want to run on one trip.
As an operator?
As an operator, their operators are not going to run this whole line. We'll split them downtown, we'll just hand them off and switch them around downtown. So your operators will stay on that end or this end. Because it's just, you know, if an operator is based out here and they're down here, so we'll just relieve the route and one of the downtown stations, probably Metro Center.
You're not going to extend it to Catalina?
So the operational patterns for this line are going to be a little different. More likely than not, you know, you'll see a train that'll start in Azusa, probably won't go beyond Willow, and the train that will go from Transom probably won't go beyond Sierra Madre. So the traditional turnbacks are still going to be used in every way, shape, and form. Likewise, when I mentioned earlier, Chinatown for short line. So if we really don't know how the balances are going to work on this thing yet. You know, we're just supposing that we'll be able to take everything through. But what happens if the Blue Line is twice as heavy as this? I doubt that's going to be the case. What happens if it is? We aren't going to want to run all our trains out here. So we'll use Chinatown for the Midway Yard to turn around. So we've got a lot of tricks that we're going to have to end up running, or end up trying. One thing we are worried about right now is that all of these stops out here are park and ride lots. They're all huge monster park and rides. Okay, there's 300, 400, 500 cars on every one of those. Peak hour, that train's going to be full by the time it gets to Sierra Madre. It's going to be full. So it's going to be very interesting to see where these folks are going. Are they going to Pasadena, or are they coming all the way downtown for $1.50? You know, I hope they stop in Pasadena so we got room to put people on board.
Coming all the way in?
So the short line service will always be there. So just to protect the ridership on the interior of the line. So I'll come around. Go ahead, sir.
The fare system, is it gonna, I mean, are you looking at implementing a distance fare system, zone?
It's being studied. Yeah, and you know, I hate to be aloof when I say it's being studied, but we really should have one if we're going 50 miles. I mean, you know, for $1.50, or let's say $2 by then. Wow, what a deal! What a deal! Isn't that great? Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, this is as much of a gap, missing link to me as the missing 710, and that's the east end of the green line.
Yeah.
And it's all the way to the at least that last 3 miles through Norwalk. And, I mean, if you could mention that, because that was projected at one time. Norwalk had, I mean, MTS were relying on Norwalk bus system to have a shuttle, and they ran out of money. And if you could comment a little, because that wasn't mentioned yet.
Yeah, it's just my oversight. That project was probably the dead project that we have in the county right now. The city of Norwalk there's a real opposition to extending the rail line. There has been
Even underground, and partly underground, I mean.
The politics have to be there. You don't
politics
fight
on
politics.
it's really a political football down there in the southeast. And for what reason, it would be purely speculative.
Total missing link though, because,
Well, you get it over to Metrolink, so, the missing link to Metrolink.
Missing Metrolink.
The missing Metrolink. So, it would make a lot of sense to put it there. It would make everybody's lives a lot easier, especially those folks that ride Metrolink into and out of Orange County and the Riverside, the 91 thing. Is that right? They go through that one? Yeah, right, yeah. So, I have not heard anything positive about that at all. That's just too bad. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember looking at old plans for the subway, and one of them shows a line starting from from Union Station, and it goes east.
Yes.
There's a stop right here in El Monte somewhere, and then somehow it wiggles its way around the Valley Boulevard, going down Valley Boulevard to Pomona.
I don't know a thing about that one. I was thinking you were going east into Boyle Heights and to the East Los Angeles, because that was on the table for a lot of years, and
that was there too.
Talking about the red line,
or the subway going east.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one at all. I couldn't even comment on it. I'm sorry.
That would look like it would take most of all the riders.
Yes, sir.
Notice the schedules for the 2 a.m. service came out the other day. And
yeah.
I was curious about the blue line. The last train from Long Beach is 12:53.
Yeah.
Is that more of a issue because of the length of the deadheads and things like that, or was that demand?
Well, we got to cut the line at some point in time, or you end up going around the clock.
Right. Yeah. The orange line I saw was the first 24/7 line.
What happens is the green line's darn near. I mean, it's like 40 minutes all the way around when this starts.
But I was wondering, the green line, not as much demand as per se the blue line. So
the blue line right now is 11:20 something.
It's like 11:30.
Yeah, 11:31.
I always miss it.
Yeah, and now we're going to go to 12:50 something.
Yeah.
Something 12:53.
There was an Orange County line 60 that was round the clock. Until, what, about a year ago or something, eastward?
Oh, the PCH line?
Yeah.
That's been going for a while.
Well, yeah, it was, I think 7th Street, but yeah, same idea.
I guess the nice part
we have to break it somewhere.
Yeah.
Orange County did that.
So what we've traditionally done is we've always spun everything out of Metro Center.
Right.
Metro Center will have the blue line departs at 2:07. What else? Expo will depart at 2:12. So those will be the last two southbound, and we spun the whole system based on those last two from downtown to the outlying areas. The one, it's a little less problematic on the Expo gold line and the red line because the distance back is much shorter.
Right.
And it's less problematic from Culver City because the distance is much shorter. When it gets out here, will be interesting because that will be really challenging. We may have to bite the bullet. We may be on 24 by then anyway. It could happen. The green line, because of its distance from downtown and the need to make the connection with the blue here, ends up with the widest span of service of any line. But it's not lost on me. I know that. Boys.
We should get an owl map so we can see that the 60 is there,
The 60 line. Yeah, sure. Good old 60.
Good old 60.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was wondering, did you have anything planned to get the two services like Metrolink and the...
Liberator.
No, it's Metrolink.
No, you said add something.
Well, and the current system you got now, because you got a lot of people that get off Metrolink
yes, sir.
To get on the services that you provided. So how are you going to get that timing situated?
Well, Quite simply, Metrolink runs occasionally, and we run frequently. So, you know, we'll do what we can. We're both kind of subject to our own rules because of the Metrolink owns about half of their, maybe 2/3 of their lines, and then they operate as a tenant on the UP, and out in Ventura County where I live, my God, the UP, it's horrible. So they're at the whim of a lot of other forces. In terms of connections, if we have train service that's very frequent, let's say it's 10-minute service or better, then Metrolink, that's one reason we run the purple line and the red line the way we do out of Union Station here. Metrolink comes in, they have a schedule, they're on time 80% of the time, or 90% of the time. Those other 10% of the time, who knows where they're at, but we can't hold our trains. We have to run, we have no track to store trains on. We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta hold a headway, because our trains run much more frequently. So we can't, aside from waiting maybe between our lines a couple of minutes at like early morning or late evening, we can do that between our lines. When we add a third carrier in that we do not have positive control over, it's very, very difficult. It's much easier with buses than it is with trains. It's buses you can park and they don't have to leave on a moment. The train, if the train's waiting for a connection, it's blocking something else. So it's an act that we're going to try to get better at with Metrolink. And it's where the opportunity where we have that would be night times, let's say on the San Bernardino line, and then on the Antelope Valley line. They run fairly late into the evening. We could even consider maybe even Amtrak. Where we get into trouble at night, you know, we could set everything up on paper, but what do we do every night of the year here? We have maintenance. Maintenance after 9 o'clock. Tears everything up. You have to be the most patient rider in the world to ride after 9 o'clock at night. Because we don't have the 3rd and 4th tracks to work with. In New York, you got a 3rd and 4th track. You can bypass work and pretty much keep a schedule. You can close stations and just walk 2 blocks and catch the train and not miss a beat. Here, we have 2 silly tracks. We got to take 1 out of service, so everybody's got to share one, and we don't have enough crossovers to get around. You know, the downtown segment has a crossover at Union Station, has a crossover at Westlake MacArthur. The original design was a crossover between Pershing and Union and 7th Street Metro Center. It was eliminated, cost cutting. Yeah, it just doesn't, you know, a little frustrating at times. The blue line, I got one more soapbox. The blue line, our crossover is set up for 20-minute service. 20-minute service between Washington and Willow. We have a capital project right now to add 4 crossovers, so we can bring that down to 10-minute service. So that's the type of things that we got to overcome some of our failures of the past that we learn after years, but you know it takes time to get up there. Yes, sir.
Since you spent a lot of time at the Metro Bicycle Roundtable, I remember those meetings. I'm wondering if you and Metro as a whole are communicating with the construction authorities for these new lines. Like the Expo Construction Authority dropped the ball on the kind of pseudo-bike lane along Phase 1. Now they're planning for Phase 2. And I know you and Lynn Goldsmith have a lot of knowledge about this. Are you communicating that to the construction authorities?
We are communicating. We're discussing things, anything to do with trains and what have you that goes along with an alignment. Okay, gotta be really careful. The construction authority is a separate government entity. Okay, and you all know that. I know. I'm trying to choose words very carefully here. They have their own board of directors. They have their own budget of which we supply the money. We have a memorandum of understanding with them to build, to fund, and operate the projects. For Phase 1, that's about all we had. For Phase 2, we don't have much more for this one. This one has a pretty good MOU that involves a lot of cross-checking and input that we're allowed to give to people, or to the site. We provide a lot of input. Whether it's picked up or not, sometimes is a little bit more difficult to answer. I hope I didn't. I know I evaded you, I'm sorry.
I didn't want to put you on the spot.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you tell me about any effort to improve the experience of taking the system? Because specifically it's smelling in some places and it's noisy, both in the 10,000, 2550 series and also on the transitway stations, and also in the surface on the lake and Elm and Sierra.
It's horribly noisy.
Yeah,
The freeways, the freeways are just frightening, and it is in discussion. And I can just tell you it's on our radar. I can't tell you much more than that. But the station, what we'd like to see in the stations, or maybe some sort of place where people could stand, it would be out of the sound element. The environment is harsh on the 210 and on the 105. It's no place, and we need to work on that. And you know, one thing we've also looked at a couple times is platform doors. You see them in some newer systems where the train comes in and the door is open. Probably not going to happen on a retrofit, but I would at least, we're at least talking about stuff like that, and we're trying to make things a little bit more pleasant for the user. Our biggest problem right now, bar none, is communications with the passenger. We just don't do a great job of it. And that's one thing that I'm going to fix somehow. And
I think even putting a glass sound wall between the track and the freeway would make a huge difference.
It would make a huge difference. And you know, of course, then we have to invite Caltrans to the party. So you know, that's another issue. And so I hear what you're saying, and I agree with it totally. And you know, hopefully, in a few years we'll be able to do something about that. It's not high enough on our radar. Back in the corner, yes sir.
I want to know, is there a possible way that you guys are going to have installing a glass door for the subways, the similar ones that you see in China?
Yeah. That's kind of what we're just talking about here, platform doors.
Yeah, for the red line and the purple line?
Yeah, we've talked about that. My gut is no, we're not going to do that.
Because I know it's too dangerous for the people, because you never know if the person simply falls off on the subway and then all of a sudden they just...
Yeah, it's a discussion. It's, once again, actually, in the design of the west side, we was talked about extensively. There's some fire life safety issues that are involved with it also, both good and bad.
Right.
I don't know that's going to happen, though.
Because I've seen in London, they have them too. When I went to
Yeah.
London, they have that too.
Yeah, there are a lot of places, and I don't see it happening here. I don't believe it's part of the budget right now. You know, there's some theories where we've got enough money to build 9 miles of railroad, so let's build 9 miles of railroad. Or there's another theory where, well, why don't we build 6 miles of railroad right, and then build the rest later on. You know, those are decisions like that our board tells us what to do. I don't see that happening. I agree, it's a good idea.
Yeah, because that's the safest way to have it.
Sure is.
For
Sure
two, of course, so to have protection and everything.
Yeah, I agree, Dan. I saw your hand.
Yeah, this is both a question and a comment on opportunity for operations to have input into the design, whether the construction is by the MTA, by the construction authorities. For those that are not aware, I was just mentioning the last 3 stations on the Expo line, their aerial structures, La Brea, La Cienega, and Culver City, and they have a very different stairway arrangement. Instead of having the usual waist-high railings, which we have with the rest of the system and systems everywhere, they have a blank wall about 8 or 9 feet on either side of the stairway. I'm sure some architect is very proud of that. But the point is that it's an opportunity for graffiti and an opportunity for other activities because it's all sheltered from the view of the rest of the station. Did you guys actually get any opportunity to make those kind of comments?
Duly noted. It was duly noted.
No,
it's the stairwells,
Some architectural firm is probably very proud of that design.
It was duly noted. Yeah, Dan, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Dan, or Don, I'm sorry.
Bruce, has the agency looked at the possibility of, for the rail system on certain lines, running express services, skip stops, or limited stops for the peaks?
Don, we did. We actually ran some express service, some of you goal line veterans out there.
Yeah.
We did run goal line express service to the tune of about 6 trips per day in each direction. And the only way we ran it was on margin, to borrow a little bit of a stock market term there. We would send the express train out right in front of the local train here. And then that express train would essentially catch up downtown to the local train in front of it. It's all margin. You know, that's all we could do. Our train control system you really need that third track. Not even a siding doesn't even work. Caltrain uses some sidings up there. They go to like 4 tracks for a short distance, but it's a good distance in some of them. They're actually like a mile long in a couple of spots where they can make a rolling meet. Although I've been up there and I've sat for many minutes in those sidings to let the express train go by. Our train control system does not accommodate express service, period. It just doesn't work. And our headways are too tight. Right now we run 6 minutes here, we run 6 minutes here, we will run 6 minutes out here, we run 7.5 here, which will become 6 minutes. Up here will become 6 minutes. At that point there's, even AB, the number of minutes is just not enough to accommodate.
Storage track on the blue line.
We do have a third track on the blue line. And it's just, the cards aren't there to do it yet, Tom. Let's come on around. Do you have a follow?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I just want to know, is it true that you guys are going to have a extension to Santa Ana or the...
Yeah, that's a Santa Ana branch.
Yeah.
Down here.
Yeah, I want to, is there a possible way that they're going to have you guys have like a subway on the purple or red or the green line to like Disneyland or Santa Ana?
No. Right now, here's Orange County right here. Orange County has no money to build anything. Okay. They're talking about a streetcar or something like that, right? A streetcar or something very simple like that. So, there's a real issue there right now. This line down here, the studies and everything indicate that this would be a huge ridership line down here. Huge. The only trouble is we can't get it downtown and we can't dump it onto the green line. And we got to get Orange County to buy into the technology because you can't let a county line mean you're going to change the type of technology and it just doesn't work that way. But what we can't do is we can't enter it at the green line because we have no capacity on the green line to put these people because it's that heavy down here. So really this line only works if you get it to come into downtown through like Southgate and Huntington Park and all the other little burgs, the southeast down here. But then you've got to get into downtown. And that's a whole other can of worms. Do you go up the river? Well, you know what's going on in the river. There's not enough space on the river for everybody.
Have you guys designed like a bridge or anything like that? For like a second level for the subways only?
Well, your money's even greener than my money. See, that's the deal. It comes to a point where, right now we're looking at, what did the governor sign the other day? $4.7 billion for heavy rail, or not heavy rail, high-speed rail or whatever.
High-speed rail, yeah.
Whatever we're going to build. I don't know. What are we going to do? We're going to build in the valley. That helps my hometown. So, we'll have to see. But in that funding package also, just of note, is the Union Station, $560 million for the
$350 million.
Yeah, thank you. $350 million for the Track 3 and Track 4 extension.
Yeah, Steve Hyman told me that it was.
Yeah, so illegal. It may happen, Tom.
Division 11.
Division 11.
Originally, it was supposed to be much larger.
Yeah.
When they found out that
Yeah.
half the land they bought was toxic.
Right. And
Originally, that was going to be for both the blue and the green.
Originally.
You need more capacity there, any way to get more capacity.
We actually don't need more capacity there. In the long-range plan of all these yards and where they're at, Division 11 is perfect in its size. It's perfect. It's fine where it sits. Southwest and Division 22 can take care of this whole section of operation out here perfectly. We get Santa Monica, Monrovia, Midway, and Long Beach put together, they do their job perfectly. And that includes operation up to a 5-minute headway on everything. So we are in good shape on yards. That's, you know, that's not always been the case. We're not right now. So we're going to be good. So let's just go across. Go ahead, sir.
I've heard that the Midway yard was originally intended to be temporary. Is
Yes.
that still the case? They're going to hang on to it?
We're going to hang on to it, you know, and somebody's have to rip it out of us, you know, out of our, what did Charlton, or who was it? Yeah, cold, dead, stiff, yeah, you have to grab it out of my hands. On my desk. No, that yard, you know, it's built. It's a horrible little yard. Horrible. There's no turn, you can't do anything over there. But it's in a strategically perfect location. Now, there is some discussions about doing something along the LA State Historical Park here along Broadway. There's development that's going to occur off of Broadway, kind of out to the edge of the park. There's going to be some underneath area underneath the development. There may be some possibility of us getting something under there, and that may move this around the corner, but there's always going to be something in this area. You know, the folks who are the river supporters would like this area to transition down and restore the LA River to its natural state, which was a flood through Chinatown and East Los Angeles. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. I appreciate it because I think the river could be a lot there, but we'll see what happens. Very, very interesting plans for the area. Very beautiful plans, actually, for the area there. So, but we're going to have something in that vicinity, always. Yes, sir.
You say third track would be good for the peak service. For anything new, what is the reason why you can't build it? And is it money, space, combination?
Combination. Okay. You know, if it's not the money, it certainly is the space. The space, we're fighting for every inch of land we get in terms of width. Right now, you know, we have issues with the subway out here where we're going. We have issues with regional connector. In certain sections of the alignment, we're directly under 2nd Street, we're directly under Flower Street, and we got people attacking us from all sides. And it really gets down to, you know, we can't get underneath the footings of the buildings. Because then all of a sudden the project quintuples in cost. Because you're having to rebuild buildings or tie, you know, you're cutting through tiebacks and what have you, and it just becomes a money pit. So we really have to keep conscious of our dollars and cents that we spend on this stuff. I see you're up here. That must mean my time is up.
Well, not that. It's just that everybody's having way good time, and we voted to extend this to 11 o'clock.
So I'm not going home tonight?
I can now get back on your 24-hour schedule. I just have to do, don't trip now.
Now, we have contacted the bicycle sharing people.
But so I did want to mention, we'll go until 9 o'clock. A number of us have a train at 9:25, so we, you know, right after 9 o'clock, we got to make sure that the room is cleared up. So if there's any trash, pass it down and we'll get it back into the trash can. But I will say, we're not done with Bruce's questions, but I've got to mention a few things. Anybody that wants newsletters, we're going to pack them up at 9 o'clock, so, you know, when Bruce is, you know, we give him the final clap, then newsletters will be up there. Just remember, Transit Coalition is a volunteer organization, and well, we do have an agenda tonight. We're going to just run out of time. So, Bruce, you want to answer a few more questions?
I'll be more than happy to answer a few more questions.
But I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that, you know, we got to keep the room clean when we leave, and right after 10 after 9, we have that 10-minute dash to get to our train. So, Meanwhile, I want to thank everybody that's got to scoot out of here early. Deanne, thank you very much. It just seems like it's
No, I'm just
years.
pushing this up.
And,
Yeah, thank you all for putting up with me for an hour and a half.
Hey, no. Bruce will go for another couple hours.
Are there any more questions around the room? Yes, sir.
Did you want to mention what's the latest word on the junction as far as...
The latest, what do you want to hear? I'll be happy to tell you what you want to hear. Well, you know, we're all over the newspaper, and it's important to understand that things may not appear the way they are. There is no safety issue with the junction. Okay? We wouldn't be running trains if there was. There's no doubt about that. Now, is it the way we want it? No, it's not. And we've got some things that we're looking at all options on it right now. We have to go through and the track work isn't ideal. We have to go through and look at get some track experts in here and get some new designs.
Do you have any RFPs?
No, not yet. We just have to have a fresh set of eyes. As of right now, all it is a wear condition where we have to maintain it. And it's fine the way it is for our operation. We go very slow through there. We go 5 miles an hour. It's no big issue for the turn. It's nice and safe. It's just a matter of getting a good solution that will last us for many years. Now, the real issue with the junction is this. When we open up the regional connector, we have a junction here, a flat junction, and we got a junction here, a flat junction. Very difficult. Those are within 1 point, well, it's about 2.2 miles together. We're going to be putting 5-minute headways off of this branch, this branch, this branch, and this branch. That means you've got a train move, you've got 2.5-minute headways through here, which means you have a train essentially every 1.25 minutes, every 75 seconds. Through the junction, one way, shape, or form at both locations. We're actually starting a study right now to look at Washington and Flower and other solutions rather than a flat junction there. Like grade separation.
It seems to be almost impossible to get it from being what you're supposed to.
Well, and you'd be surprised if you just go out there and sit. You can. It's kind of amazing how close they get together. You're all coming off the street right by here. Good to see you guys. Good job. They're all coming off the street running, and the way it's scheduled right now, like in the middle of the day, when we're running 12-minute headways, 2 expo trains should pass fairly close together, and 2 blue line trains should pass fairly close together. You'd be surprised how many times that actually happens.
But at rush hours?
At rush hours, it's a 2-to-1 operation right now. And so there's 2 blue to 1 red, 2 blue to 1 expo. But eventually it's going to be 1-to-1 on the line. So, we know we got a real mess here. Not aside from our current junction issues, in the future we're going to have to really look at some alternatives. The other alternative is, of course, to take vehicles out of the equation and take the vehicles over the top. Because a lot of this is all based on traffic control. We have to let traffic go through on all this stuff. If we take the traffic control out of it, let's say we took Washington over the top of the junction, all we had to deal with is essentially trains. You make Flower one way through, no turns. All you have to deal with is trains. You can do a whole lot more with just a train operation. That's why this junction over here is going to be underground, underneath First and Alameda. And so it's just going to be all trains. So it's not going to present nearly the problem with this one. This is our tail that wags our entire dog. And it always will be until we come up with some solution there. And that study's just starting right now. We'll see where it goes. Yes, sir.
Just on that line, I was going to ask this earlier. I have 100 more questions, by the way. I'm not going to do it. This is probably the last one. That non-revenue connector section that used to be operable as part of the airline, if that could be utilized as part of a Long Beach to Santa Monica Express without having to go through downtown, that could solve, I think, take a lot of pressure off Washington.
No, it couldn't.
You know,
I don't know, you'd have to have the.
There's a lot of issues with that. I can just cut to the chase. Number one,
All right.
the political issue is overwhelming there.
Well, that's
We
true.
can't have that. Number two, you're adding 2 more junctions.
It's all hypothetical.
Yeah, 2 more junctions in here, it means it's just, you know, from an operator, the deal with all of our lines here, and this is all free or anything like that, we've got to remember what's operational, what's operationally feasible, and it would not work operationally. It's just too many trains going too many different directions, and it just won't work. But politically, it's dead as a doornail, that particular route. Yes, sir. You have
Yeah, I have a question about the Sepulveda Pass,
Yeah.
the sort of black dotted line there.
Yeah.
You know, you refer to the pass. Yeah, you refer to it as a terrible pass, and you know, you spoke about
the driving. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Valley commuters going downtown,
Yeah,
using
yeah.
the Expo line to get to Culver City, etc. So you know, I think we're all in agreement that it is a congested corridor. You know, it was named the #1 congested corridor in the U.S. Metro recently released, you know, 4 or 5 alternatives for that corridor, some rail, some bus. What, in your opinion, do you see that corridor becoming a rail corridor, and what needs to happen for that to become a rail corridor?
You know, I think what has to happen for it to become a rail corridor is it has to have viable alternatives on each side. You know, there's no question that this is the best way through the pass is to get the mass transit through there, mass transit. But what's your distribution when you get over here? What are you going to do with the people when you get over here? Are they all going to go into the purple line? Or are they going to go farther down? I don't think everybody just wants to get to the purple line. I think people want to go down the coast. Out here in the valley, what are you going to do? You're going to hit the orange line? Or are you going to go into the north end of the valley? If you go into the north end of the valley, you'll make Bart happy, I'm sure, toward your way. But then you might have something, you know, because it's distribution. This is congested, but it's got to distribute on the far end. And I think that's the $3 question on this thing. If we can figure out how to do that. And then, of course, print some money. Tom's left, so we can't get any more of his money.
Yeah.
So we need a lot of money to do that.
Let me throw out something on that. No, let me throw out something on that just because. See, in the San Fernando Valley, the history is it's never been for something. It's always against something. So Josh is an intern coalition. He's the project manager for the GEM line, which is the Jobs, Education, Medical Services. The line that connects.
Okay.
It's a little question. It's the line that connects the San Fernando Valley to West LA. We've been putting together a business plan. We've been working with professionals that give us some guidance. He's going to go get his master's in business administration, but his internship is based upon he had real world experience. If we can convince the San Fernando Valley politically that it's a viable situation and we need to fund this over the next decades or two, we could connect something and we can make it happen. But it's the dream. I mean, in the room, there's a lot of people that dream and understand what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
It's the rest of the world that we've gone out and convinced 12 neighborhood councils it's viable. Some of the groups like Valley Vote, conservative groups like it. But like everything, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, Expo Line, we were told it couldn't be. It was going to be the busway. And as one of the people that brought the Expo Line from an idea to reality, I already know how to do it once. Second time, you know, it's not as hard as the first time, quite frankly. And you know, I don't see problems with junctions and all. We can make it. There's some way to do it or not. And so, you know, that's part of the dream that we want to bring it forward. So that's just, you know, sort of a closing mention that it's a feasible. We will continue to do it for the next couple of years. We have a business plan and we're going to move it forward.
It all starts with grassroots.
And that's.
It all starts with grassroots. You know, if you can figure out the ends and you sell the people on the ends, that's the whole thing. You know, because there's no doubt there's a selling point here. It's the ends.
And we've been working with the ends with the different politicians, with Republicans, making sense that once you get to Sylmar, Antelope Valley people, you have a viable route to get from Sylmar south to UCLA, south to the airport. That changes the whole paradigm of network, just like the
whole paradigm of Southern California.
Just like the Crenshaw line. You get the Crenshaw line north to Beverly Hills and into the Red Line. It's a paradigm changer. So I do mention that we are now at the witching hour of 9:01. So, I don't mean to cut it off abruptly, but we'll never get out of here on our trains.
Well, that's fine.
There you go. So, thank you. I hope everybody got what you enjoyed what we had. You know, we didn't get to the agenda per se. I know Brad's going to come after me and say, you know, yeah, this is